Sunlight poured through the glass walls of Terminal C like the airport itself was breathing in hope. Bright, golden, unaware of what it was about to witness. Morning traffic rolled past outside the sliding doors, windshields flashing with reflected sky. Families moved through the terminal in loose clusters. A child laughed somewhere near baggage claim. A coffee cup clinked against a saucer as an espresso machine hissed steadily in a sunlit cafe. Luggage wheels whispered across polished tile. Above it all, departure announcements echoed calmly, as if nothing in the world could go wrong under this much light. Near the security entrance, Daniel Reeves adjusted the collar of his worn jacket as sunlight hit his eyes through the windows. He blinked against the brightness, then looked down at the small hand wrapped tightly around his. His daughter Lily, 6 years old, stood beside him with a pink backpack slipping off one shoulder. Curls escaped her messy ponytail. She rocked gently back and forth, sneakers tapping nervously against the floor. "Daddy," she whispered, staring at the long line ahead. "Is Mommy really waiting at the plane?" Daniel knelt, the daylight tracing the tired lines across his face. "She'll be right there when we land, okay?" Lily tilted her head. "Promise." His smile arrived a heartbeat late. "Promise." The line moved forward. Bus brakes hissed outside as someone unloaded passengers at the curb. Coins clattered in a charity box near the cafe counter. The terminal breathed and moved and glowed with ordinary life. They reached the front that a uniformed security officer with mirrored sunglasses scanned Daniel's boarding pass, then lifted his head slowly. His expression shifted, subtle, guarded. "Step aside, sir." Daniel's chest tightened. "Is something wrong?" The officer didn't answer. Another uniformed guard approached. A radio crackled. "Sir, come with us." Lily's fingers tightened around Daniel's sleeve. "Daddy." Daniel knelt again. "Sweetheart, just stay right here, okay? I'll be right back." Her lip trembled. "But you promised." Before he could answer, strong hands closed around his arms. The motion was quick, professional, public. A woman gasped. Someone dropped a phone. A quiet snap through the terminal after a sharp command. "Let go of me," Daniel said evenly. "My daughter's scared." They pulled him backward anyway. His shoes slid against the tile. "Daddy!" Lily cried. She broke free from the line and ran toward him, backpack bouncing wildly. That a guard stepped into her path. "Ma'am, stop. She's just a kid." Someone shouted. Lily stumbled and caught herself with trembling hands. Tears cutting streaks down her face as she watched her father disappear behind the glass walls of the security office. Daniel twisted in the guard's grip. Panic broke through his voice. "It's a mistake. I haven't done anything." The glass door slid shut with a heavy final sound. Lily stood frozen in the blazing terminal light, sobbing. That a young woman knelt beside her, offering tissues. "Hey, sweetheart, what's your daddy's name?" Lily tried to answer, but only a broken sound came out. Inside the glass office, Daniel stood with his palms open as officers spoke into their radios. Sunlight cut across his face in sharp lines. His breathing was fast, uneven. He hadn't slept much since Lily's mother had left 3 months earlier. He hadn't slept since he'd been mistaken for someone else at a construction site. Arrested, released within hours, charges cleared. But the digital flag had never disappeared. Now here he was again, in the brightest place on earth, looking like a criminal. That a man in a gray suit stepped forward from the terminal crowd. "Officer Grant," his vest red as he knelt beside Lily. "We're just making sure your dad is okay," he said gently. "You stay right here for a moment, all right?" Lily shook her head. "Daddy promised." Grant hesitated. Through the glass, Lily saw her father and ran. She slipped past the kneeling woman, sprinted across the terminal, bare sneakers slapping the tile, weaving between suitcases. The espresso machine hissed sharply as startled heads turned. Inside the office, Daniel saw her rushing toward him. "Lily!" he shouted. The door opened just as she reached it. She ran straight into the arms of the uniformed officer who had been holding her father. The room froze. She sobbed into his chest. "Daddy!" The officer stiffened, then slowly lowered his hands to her shoulders. "I'm not your dad, sweetheart." Confusion crossed her face. Her eyes darted past him. Then she screamed again, this time running straight into Officer Grant's arms. "Don't take him," she cried. "Please don't take my daddy." The terminal seemed to stop breathing. Grant knelt with her as she clung to his vest. "I won't hurt your dad," he said quietly. "We just need to check something. Can you trust me?" Lily hesitated, then nodded. Grant raised his tablet. The old report flashed onto the screen. The closed case. The cleared charges. The lingering system flag. Grant's jaw tightened that he looked at his team. Release him. The cuffs came off. Daniel sagged forward as Lily flew back into his arms, sobbing into his jacket. I thought they took you forever, she cried. I'm here, he whispered. I'm right here. The terminal watched in silence as sunlight pooled across the floor around them. An announcement chimed overhead. Final boarding for Flight 224 to San Diego. Daniel stiffened. That's our flight. Grant checked the time. You've got 6 minutes. They moved through the terminal quickly, not running, not stopping. Sunlight followed them through the tall windows to the gate. The attendant hesitated as Daniel approached, panic written across his face. Grant stepped forward. She's boarding. The scanner beeped. The gate opened as they passed through. Lily stopped and turned back. She ran once more to Grant and wrapped her arms around his waist. Thank you, she whispered. Grant closed his eyes for just a second. That afternoon, sunlight drifted across a quiet airport park outside the terminal. Grant sat alone on a bench, elbows on his knees, watching planes lift into the pale sky. The world had already gone back to normal, but something inside him hadn't. Weeks later, in California, Lily sprinted across a bus station parking lot into her mother's arms. Daniel stood behind her in the soft afternoon light, fear no longer following him like a shadow. That same week, a new notice appeared inside the airport security office. System flag revisions implemented. Grant read it twice, then returned quietly to his post. Days later, a small envelope arrived at Daniel's apartment. Inside was a photograph of Lily hugging a man in uniform at a gate. On the back, written carefully, "You made us feel safe." That evening, as daylight faded into warm gold, Daniel sat on a park bench while Lily played nearby. A streetlight flickered on. She ran back and took his hand. Safe. Moral true authority is not the power to take, but the courage to protect.